Mortal Kombat 1. You know, this is one that can be a little bit divisive. The 12th Mortal Kombat game. And it goes from the initial ads for it. 11, 1. This came out, let's see. This came out in 2023. And 2024 saw it get its one of its DLC stuff, a DLC story add-on, sort of similar to what 11 had. Mortal Kombat 1 is the quote official. No, it's the third reboot of the timeline, officially. Although it's probably safe to say Mortal Kombat versus DC is a separate timeline altogether, but the characters, know about things. So what's the story here? Well, it opens literally when you start the game. Liu Kang, now Fire God Liu Kang, is talking about how he has, figured things out and set things up so that everything should work out nicely. He has arranged for the problematic people to still exist, but have a less of a role, or that they have a better timeline or something. Pardon if you hear anything in the background. But, how do I put this? Well, we open the game and the story with Shang Tsung, now basically peddling his wares, which their workability is not the best. And someone comes to offer Shang Tsung a chance to be more than what he is. By all appearances, now they're being called Damashi, but in all actuality, they look more like Kronika from Mortal Kombat 11. We then open the story mode of the game. Well, that is with the opening, in which the crew is basically, we are getting our champions together. We start off with Kung Lao and Raiden, who in this timeline is mortal. And they work at training. These two are being trained to be the next, to being part of Liu Kang's champions. For in a more of a systematic, the Mortal Kombat tournament is more of a challenge than it is a fight to the death. It is to keep a peace and balance between Outworld and Earthrealm. Now, we are introduced. Now, Liu Kang is basically has Kung Lao and Raiden tested. Tested by the Lin Kuei, whose current Grandmaster is Sub-Zero, Bi-Han. Kuai Liang is now Scorpion. And a young man named Thomas is Smoke. So what's happening here? Well, they get tested. This was all helped set up by Madame Bo, who we learn with the Khaos Reigns installment was former Lin Kuei. Now after this, where Raiden and Kung Lao are dubbed two of the champions to be tested, and the other one will represent Earthrealm, and the other three will basically be as like support or something like that, because this is a kind battle. This is not you know this isn't a fight for the safety of Earthrealm. Now, of course, once they're selected to go off for training, Liu Kang and Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Smoke go off to test the other two. One, struggling actor Johnny Cage, who has recently purchased a sword, the sword Shento. I think that's how it's called, Shento. And a former Yakuza gangster, Kenshi Takahashi, who actually the sword belonged to his family. And of course, they are having a face-off in Johnny's place when the ninjas arrive. And then Liu Kang shows up. I like the reaction Johnny has to being told that they are part of the four champions. It's like, why him? And better question, why me? So, we have questions, but they've been tested. Liu Kang says they're worthy. Of course, in the end, when they have their own set of trials and all that, in the end, it proves that Raiden is worthy of the title of champion. He's also given a medallion that would allow him to successfully handle the lightning powers that we know Raiden for. And it is then that we head off to compete in the tournament, with Raiden basically fighting against Outworld's alignment of champions. Now, in Outworld, Sindel is the current reigning empress. And she must, of course, also keep her two children in line. She keeps up the tournament because, of course, her husband Gerard had helped set it up with Liu Kang. This, of course, vexes the current head of the army in Outworld, General Shao, whom we have known as Shao Kahn. And, of course, his first lieutenant, Reiko. There is also tension between the head constable of the major city in the Outworld, Sundao, and that's being Li Mei. Li Mei was former Umgadi, which is the battalion of female guards of the royal family, the current head of which is Tanya. And of course, we have the two twins, Melina and Kitana. Melina is the older one, which means anything happens to Sindel, she's the next leader. Of course, this is actually a better timeline for Melina. I mean, she has everything she would want. She still has a thing for Tanya, and Tanya has a thing for her. Kitana is very supportive of her sister and looks out for her sister too. But Mileena has a problem. She has been infected with a disease that is ravaging people in Outworld, Tarkat. She needs a special medication to keep it calm, so she doesn't start showing the deformities that come with Tarkat, which is ironic, because this is coming from a special medicine man, Shang Tsung. He's been able to find a way to suppress Tarkat. This could give him control in some ways over the royal family. Now, of course, because as the tournament goes, the Earthrealm champion will fight the various champions of Outworld. The first one being Li Mei. Eventually, the Empress's daughter, Mileena, but of course, because of what's going on with Mileena, that is left out. She's replaced with Kitana. Now, also at this time, we have Garrus, who is now back from the previous game. He's helping Liu Kang because, in a way, Garrus got to see what happened to Kronika when it came to time. And Liu Kang basically has him as an advisor and a friend. So Garrus can also see what's going to happen, and, he can advise. He basically thinks Liu Kang has a better hold of being a master of time than Kronika did. But they get word that Shang Tsung is trying to, achieve something greater. Somebody must be helping him, which bothers them. And so, while Raiden has now won, Liu Kang sends Johnny, Kenshi, and Kung Lao to investigate these what's going on. Try and find out what's happening. Find Shang Tsung. They get their lead from the Tarkat village. After seeing some of Shang Tsung trying to, capture someone. That someone actually being Baraka, who has long had Tarkat. He's sort of like the elder of the village. Now, Shang Tsung is creating a cure for Tarkat, or at least something to help subdue it until a full outright cure can be developed. He's also doing other things. And he is helping treat Mileena. Of course, our boys don't know this. And we find out that it's not only, Rain is helping in this, as well as Tanya, but they are unaware of the real nastiness going on. Well, Rain may be aware of it. Yeah, Rain is aware of it. You see, Rain is the High Mage of Outworld. Not the demigod that he was in the original timeline. You see, General Shao is conspiring with Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, who was elevated from his lowly position thanks to Damashi. So, Shao they're helping Shao in an attempt to overthrow the royal family. Of course, once they find all this out, Baraka helps them escape. And I thought this was one of the neater things about this, that we actually played as Baraka. We also played as Melina later in the story timeline. Well, they have to escape. Now I also get help from Sizor, who is a Zataran. A Zataran with the ability to transform into a human form, which makes him an outcast amongst his own people. Hell, he's an exile amongst his own people. And he's only been willingly helping Shang Tsung to keep his family safe, not knowing that Shang Tsung already had his family eliminated. Oh, yes, so we have definitely a difficult situation. Of course, as they're going through the living forest, where souls of those who have died are sort of preserved, they end up meeting a demoness who is trying to shed her evil part, named Ashra. We also come across Quan Chi testing one of his devices, which will siphon souls. And it works because it really does damage to the living forest, and it creates Ermac. We also get to meet some of those helping Quan Chi, which includes Havoc, and I believe Darius from Sido, Order Realm. Havoc is not too thrilled with the Order of Order Realm and wants anarchy, or chaos. There's also Nitara of Eternus, a vampire, as we would call them. She is voiced by Megan Fox. Not overly keen on that. Makes me really, I'm not a big fan of Megan Fox myself. Well, of course, after the creation of... now, of course, during all this time, when they went to, in the hopes of saving Melina, but not fully understanding the situation, Melina blinds Kenshi. And of course, Baraka and Sizor sort of help Kenshi, but Kenshi's now has to be guided around. Of course, when they're going to have this fight, Johnny gives Kenshi Sido, because it's only right. Especially after, Kenshi also sort of helped save his life, too, earlier. That's a debt that you can't really pay back. This is also when we learn about the powers of the sword and how it gives Kenshi the ability to see, making him a quite capable fighter. And, of course, they have to sneak through Sido to get out of Outworld, which doesn't necessarily go unnoticed. I mean, Li Mei manages to catch up with them, and she's not too thrilled helping on this, but she's trying to keep order. And Li Mei is, basically he explain, they don't have time to explain, but they do get out of there. Unfortunately, they lose Quan Chi in the process. I mean, they had managed to catch Quan Chi. You see, right now, the coup attempt is still not known. Of course, once they are successful in getting, get that, but they are also, since they know that these guys are going to try something in Earthrealm, well, Liu Kang basically has the Liu Kang has the Lin Kuei, since they are basically tasked with the defending of Earthrealm, which is not entirely something that. Again, sorry about all the noise in the background. It's just the situation I'm in here. But basically, Lin Kuei does attack. Or no, not Lin Kuei. Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Smoke infiltrate a place where these things might be located, and they find them. And so they go about to sabotage. Sub-Zero goes to find out what's going on and ends up being caught by Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, and some of their minions there. As is Scorpion as well. And Sub-Zero basically agrees to turn on Earthrealm to help Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Well, how do things play out? Well, this causes a massive rift that causes Scorpion and Smoke to defect. Scorpion also manages to give Havoc his now iconic and disgusting look. In the end, they escape and report back to Liu Kang about what has happened. And now Liu Kang must do a lot of explaining, as he must now reveal certain things that he didn't want to reveal. So he goes in an effort to make peace with Sindel. They even take Sindel to the location of Shang Tsung's lab and show her what's going on. Of course, first, this is also, he's proving the point to Li Mei. And even Li Mei, I mean, her reason for being kicked out was because she did not prevent the death of Jared. When in actuality, she had nothing to do with it. She didn't fail in her duty, it was just somebody else was very sneaky. And in fact, by presenting, that she was always been loyal to the family and she has always done what she has to protect them, sort of opens up Sindel's eyes. And when Sindel sees what's been going on at Shang Tsung's lab, she is horrified. And she, of course, we also have Shao showing his true nature, and they fight their way out of that. Now Shao can't necessarily show his face, so that means they have to go through with the quote invasion of Earthrealm, which they go to location, kick butt, prove their way through. Melina shines as they, again fight and defeat Shang Tsung and Kuai Liang. Or, not Kuai Liang. No, I meant Quan Chi. What happens? Damashi shows up and reveals that Damashi is actually the Titan Shang Tsung. The same one that Liu Kang fought for control of the Hourglass at the end of Aftermath. And Shang Tsung had found out. And yes, he used his version of Shang Tsung in this timeline to try and further his goals, which includes eradicating the timeline. Still a little miffed about losing that battle, or, still a little miffed at Liu Kang, I guess, even though he won it in his timeline. Which shows that time does fracture and create alternate timelines. So, What do? We fight. Liu Kang starts gathering people together. In fact, it's actually from his Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung theorizes that there are other timelines with other titans in control. And of course, if this Shang Tsung is going to attack us, we're going to need all the help we can get. This is again proving that Liu Kang and Shang Tsung proves that he is wise when it comes to certain things. And so they basically gain in the powers to attack. They call on other titans. We see a Titan Kitana, a Titan Raiden, Titan Kung Lao. I think the Titan Raiden's voiced by the voice of Raiden in the previous timeline. And of course, Dark Shang Tsung, our Titan Shang Tsung, is getting his own people together. And so, after we stop the planned invasion through the gates, we end up taking the battle to Shang Tsung in wherever he calls home, or wherever his base of operations is, which is actually the Pyramid of Armageddon. And here's the thing you can do with that last chapter, and this is a brilliant thing with the last chapter of the main storyline. Liu Kang, you could choose anybody. Liu Kang Liu Kang, you could choose Scorpion, you could go up, and you fight composites from the of different characters. You run into characters from different timelines. I mean, you get a hint at one that eventually becomes a cameo. Janet Cage, a female version of Johnny Cage. You actually see a good version of General Shao, or Shao Kahn. Can be said the same for a good version of Shang Tsung. In the end, when you get to the top, whomever you play as, you join Fire God Liu Kang and kick Shang Tsung and Quan Chi's butt, apparently, quote, destroying the Titan Shang Tsung and the Titan Quan Chi. Saving the timeline from at least this threat. And of course, things play out. In fact, if you have your face-to-face battles, you sort of get hints at what goes on, like in the tower battles. Scorpion and Smoke form the Kuai Liang. No, Kuai Liang and Scorpion and Smoke form the Shiora Ryu. That's the one. I'm getting my terms mixed up. They even take in a young boy named Hanzo Hasashi. The Scorpion we know. Bi-Han is still running the League Lin Kuei, but they are not what they used to be. He's taken the defection of Scorpion and Smoke very personally, and of course only told them his side. Makes him sound better. Of course, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Kenshi still are representative of champions. Johnny Cage is now producing a series of films and such to educate the world about Outworld and the bigger picture. He's made Liu Kang is listed as executive producer, even though he doesn't want to be. As Johnny puts it, you executive produced the whole thing. Johnny is more in the director's and producer's chair than he is in the actual action seat, which is fine by him. In Outworld, because during the whole escapade, Sindel passed away, Ermac has the soul of Sindel and Jared in them. And so Ermac is sort of a force to be reckoned with. Of course, there's also some underlying things because it was created by Quan Chi's magic. Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, General Shao have been imprisoned and escaped. Reiko as well. Reiko's escaped. Rain, well, he is working on forgiveness because even though he was not, apprehended at when the others were, he helped Havoc cause massive devastation in Saido, which he is ashamed that he has taken part in. Melina is now Empress. Kitana is the head of the army. She asked Li Mei to be part of some bureaucracy, but that was not for Li Mei, unfortunately, and at least Li Mei was wise enough to realize it. Sizor and Ashra, the demoness who's trying to be good, they're in a relationship. Nitara is trying to help her kind fend off extinction. But we leave it at the end of the main story that Titan Havoc arrived after everything went down. He's not thrilled that he missed out on all the fun. And this is what leads into the Khaos Reigns story mode. Of course, there's some time later. Bihan is basically trying to get vengeance on his brother for defecting. Only telling a partial story to Sector, who is very loyal to him. And in this timeline, Sector and Cyrax are female. I have no problem with this. Adds to them, to be honest. Of course, like I said, this is a different timeline. Things can change. Certain things can change. Hell, you could have had Sizor be androgynous for all we know. Also, we get confirmation that Chameleon is a female Zataran that can shapeshift. We actually get a little bit more out of her in this added storyline. Well, Bihan has decided that the Lin Kuei will attack on Scorpion's wedding day. Cyrax definitely has problems with this. And she's not about to fight Scorpion's bride, Harumi. In fact, because she also stands up and faces down and actually learns the truth. And of course, Lin Kuei is, fought off by all those there, including, more of the Shaolin monks. Well, Scorpion now has a choice. And while Cyrax was, willing to accept whatever fate bestowed, Harumi, asks for Scorpion to forgive her for her ignorance. He does, and they take Bihan and Sector to Outworld for judgment, because they did help in what Shao had tried. Of course, before a judgment gets passed, this is when Titan Havoc shows up, and they kidnap Garrus. Of course, as they're trying to take Garrus, Bihan is... He may not like Liu Kang. He may not be too friendly with Liu Kang, but he also understands that if Havoc gets a hold of Garrus, it's going to be bad. In fact, almost as as all hell breaks loose and Sector proves, at least to be decent on that set, that she recognizes a problem. They fight, and she almost is ready to blast Havoc, but Bihan jumps in to try and, I guess, save Garrus. Ends up getting pulled to Havoc's world. And it's bad there. In fact, he's been busy invading other timelines, destroying them. He even captures Bihan, and he starts the process so that he can infuse the Kamidogu in his realm, or something, so that he can start altering the timeline that they're from. And so, Scorpion in a 3-person force, because Outworld can't spare much in their military. Same has to be said for us in Earthrealm. And so, he sends Scorpion. The covert mission would probably be best. Scorpion, Cyrax, and Sector. Sector agrees that, she wants to rescue Bihan. Well, they're lovers. But agrees that if it's not possible, they have to let him go. If it's not possible. The primary objective is to find and rescue Garrus before it is too late. And so they enter this chaotic world, and lo and behold, it's a mess. We run into an alternate version of Johnny Cage, who was, quote, in the military. He is not the star, and he goes by the last name Carlton, because that was Johnny Cage's real last name, John Carlton. We meet an alternate version of Rain and Tanya. Well, Rain first. He was emperor of his timeline of Outworld with his queen, Tanya. They overthrew a barbarous Reiko and Li Mei. Now, of course, Tanya is being held in fact, being made to fight for the Havocs to enjoy. And I mean it when I say Havocs. Li Mei, so Sector, Cyrax, Scorpion, and Rain and John Carlton go to rescue the Tanya. They're caught, of course, by Havoc's group. And after they fight, they find an escape path. No, it leads to a maze that Havoc has, and I would have loved to actually had a chance to play this as an actual level. Of course, you have fights that can take place there. You run into maze runners of Kitana and Melina. Find a dragon. The dragon actually helps them get to where they need to be. Amazing. Tanya could speak dragon. Of course, as they get into Havoc's citadel, they have to face off against the transformed Bihan, now known as Noob Saibot. They rescue Garrus. They even manage to rescue Bihan. And at the end of the story, we are playing as Bihan. Bihan feels bad enough that the secrets were given, that Havoc learned what he knew. And even Liu Kang says, of all the things, you face something you were totally not ready to face. That one is very understandable. And that one I can forget. That's one thing that can be really forgiven. Of course, now Noob, using his new powers, manages to help fight back and defeat Havoc. But he's still the arrogant person. Liu wants to help him recover, and he will do that. As he figures, it's going to take time. Even he admits that it'll take time. But this is where we leave the story. Now, some people had problems with this second story, and yes, I could understand some of it. It sort of goes quick. A lot of fighting involved. But I am glad that, it happened. It's a good story overall. And, of course, the inclusion with the guest characters. And even this. All the endings you see of the main characters are considered canon. I imagine to an extent. And I've heard talk that there's still going to be some more characters coming. We're still waiting at the time of this recording on T1000. But until that's all said and done, this is all we have for Mortal Kombat 1. Now, there is talk that there will be another installment in a couple years. Whether they're calling it Mortal Kombat 2 with the number 2, not the Roman number 2, or what it will be called, it's hard to say. But until then, I hope you enjoyed me talking about the Mortal Kombat 1 story mode. And sorry for all the noise that was in the background. Running short on time to get this together. So until next one of these, take care and have fun. Bye all.